we are going to talk about the chismes. This is the voiceover chismes panel.
We can share. I'll just go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's right. Microphone.
Whoever's mic you choose is whoever's friend you are the most.
Oh.
Chisme.
Oh, the pressure's on. The pressure's on. And you better choose wisely.
You know, 600 years in the plane of euthymia, whatever.
She puts a compelling argument. It's fine.
Okay, so we're starting our second panel today. Wow, there's a lot of people today. Holy moly. That's a lot, that's a lot.
Are you getting a good arm workout? Because you've just been holding it up the whole time. Yeah? Get those gains.
Don't put it down if you want a prize by the end of the panel. Hold it up the whole time. If it drops down at all,
You know they
no
will.
prize for you.
They will.
Adam's gonna give you his Magic the Gathering deck.
No. No.
It's worth thousands of dollars.
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally brought my magic cards to the panel. I don't know why.
Are you gonna like challenge a bunch of people?
It's
that want
also a
to
magic
I
tutorial.
mean, let's go. Let's go.
Like post panel, people are just like gonna gather. Like I wanna MTG with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So let's introduce ourselves to the crowd. Like who wants to start here? So people know you guys, but it's always great to have the intro. So
I guess I'll start and we'll go this way. How
all
about
right.
that?
Great.
Hi everybody, I'm Ratana. I am the English voice of Miko in Genshin Impact and Leone in Fire Emblem minigames.
I'm Yatco. I'm the English voice of Raiden Shogun in Genshin Impact and Nobara Kukisaki in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Hey guys, my name's Adam McArthur. I am the English voice of Yuji, Itadori, in Jujutsu Kaisen, as well as Marco Diaz on Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and also Schminigan in Genshin Impact.
Love that shit.
That's a new character.
Schminigan's the best.
You
Spoilers.
you roll the dice for him, and then you get the pulls, and then you win him.
He is the N-est of NPCs.
Yeah.
You're killing me. Okay. Hi, my name is Stahl. I am the voice. Oh, hi. I'm the voice of Barbara and Xinyan in Genshin Impact and Amir in Fire Emblem Games. Also, Koi Dao is my boyfriend, which I think everybody likes better.
That's important information for you too.
So, hi, I'm Vanille. I'm not in Genshin Impact.
It's okay, me neither. Oh wait. Yes, you are. Yes, you
Are
are.
you in?
Yes,
It's
you
so
are.
cool.
It hasn't been announced yet, but Vanille is going to be Luthendro in Genshin Impact, which is a new character. It's a new character.
Yeah, no, I'm Vanille. I'm the voice of Neon and Valorant and Zeri and Miko.
You're so cool.
Yay.
We love her.
Luthendro's my favorite
Oh
of,
my
of all your works. Yes.
Okay, considering how many people there are, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of questions. So I'm gonna keep my questions quick, so you guys can go straight to yours. How's that sound for you guys? Yeah. Okay, great. So this is just like a little quick tidbit because of like every day, like the past 2 days, there have been a lot of like discussions on like voice acting and whatnot. What has been like? How does it? How do you get your like? How does it start from like going from like the smallest roles, the NPCs and whatnot? How do you get your foot through the door using those tiny roles? And like, how do you find your way into like becoming those bigger roles eventually? What's the process here?
By accident.
Ooh.
Yep.
Well, the funny thing is, because there's this idea that, once you get your little worlds, it snowballs into bigger and bigger and bigger roles, and that's sort of true, but also the little roles don't actually ever stop. Every once in a while, like, I've played some leads, you played some leads, but I've also done lots of, like, NPCs, I've done, like, lots of things that's called, like, Walla, which is, like, background
Additional voices for the win.
Additional voices, yeah. I'm still doing that kind of stuff today, so you never really know what you're doing from day to day, so it's a role is a role is a role, and each and every voice actor is important to each project, I would like to say, right?
Yeah,
so
I think
there's that.
I think it's more like the question or the answer is more not like how do you make a small role lead to a bigger role. I think it's not actually has nothing to do with the roles. The fact that you keep working has more to do that you're like a good person, like a reliable person, something that's fun to work with.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I think a lot of voice actors will always say like, oh man, like other voice actors, like it's just like the best people in the industry. But if you think about like, it's not an accident, I guess. Like the reason we are all peers is because typically we're reliable, we're professional, and we are nice when we're at our jobs.
Yeah.
So
And
I think that helps.
we tend to think that all job trajectories are linear. They're not. How many times, even in real life, it's like this: you go forward, backwards. You go around in a loop for a little while, you take a side quest, and then you keep going, and eventually you get there. But this is not a linear game. There are so many little side quests that we're constantly playing.
So I think what is a really important little theme to everything that we're saying here is don't be discouraged by how long whatever you see as your goal or your victory takes. Whatever success looks like for you in your mind, the imagination, is probably going to be different from what the reality is going to present to you. And it's not going to take the time that you want it to take. It's just going to take the time it takes. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, don't be hard on yourself. That's your parents' job.
That's
Are you Filipino?
I've been here for 4 days, and I mean,
Kapapaya?
I'm in
Honorary
Genshin now.
kapapaya?
I'm Filipino.
How come you're Filipino now?
Thank you.
Adam, give me your hand.
Yeah.
Ano po?
No, I was just gonna say that you stay humble. Just because you've already done those big roles doesn't mean you think the smaller roles are above you now, or below you now. Below you now, because you're gonna keep doing them.
And some of those small roles are super fun. Like,
Yeah.
It's so fun to just walk in a room and they say, oh, hey, can you voice this like little snot-nosed boy? He's like a little bully. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna get my butt kicked later, but I'm gonna be like, oh, you stink. Those are fun.
That's actually Anne's normal voice.
That's how I normally talk.
how
This
she
is
normally
put
sounds.
on. This is put on.
I got to
For
be a
you.
cabbage once. That was awesome. I just said cabbage. Yeah. I was so proud of myself.
Crowning achievement.
Okay, so just another quick thing. Like, you guys talked about like your favorite, like you talked about like the fun minor roles and stuff. Can you like run us through like what, like, is it basically like improvisation for like that, all that kind of stuff? Is it, because I feel like it sounds like you guys have like a blast doing those little, like the cabbage stuff. I heard like some voice actors actually, because they don't actually want like the sounds of like a dog barking, they get somebody to actually bark. Stuff like that. Like, what has been some of the craziest things you've done in the studio, and like, what has been like, what sticks to your mind? What lives in your head rent free?
In season 1 of Star versus the Forces of Evil, Marco is the main character I played, and then there was the bad guy. His name was Ludo. He had a bunch of henchmen, and one of them was named Big Chicken, and I also was the voice of Big Chicken, who basically just would fight, and so a lot of times I was like kicking my own butt. I was like fighting myself. That was always random.
Were you winging it?
No, listen. No, listen. Do not clap. No. No. Listen. I'm out.
That was so smooth.
No, listen. Between
Please
Ratana,
keep egging him on.
between Ratana and Corey Yee, I have been punned to death. Too many puns. Death by pun.
It's a poultry joke.
I am in physical pain.
Yeah, me too.
Let me bring it back to the question. But in Jujutsu Kaisen, so Nobara's first episode is episode 3, right? And she they go into the warehouse, her and Yuji, and then
Yuji calls her the B word.
Yeah.
My mom called me.
Your mom called you on that?
She did.
That's so funny. He only got away with it because she didn't hear it. But no, there's a scene where she goes upstairs and then she like saves a little boy, right, from the mannequins. I voiced the little boy that she saves. So I saved myself in a whole scene. It was fun.
I don't know.
Can you just do the cabbage
Yeah, just
thing?
do more cabbage.
It's
Do
weird.
you have a cabbage print on your table?
I would buy that.
I want it. I
No,
want
but
it.
the amount of times that fans have presented me with either cabbage playing cards or actual cabbages is not zero. Like,
That's
actually,
amazing.
it is. I have a little like fake cabbage that a fan gave me in my booth that I look at and I'm like, ah yes, that's where I came from. But yeah, I've had to make a lot of very strange little creature noises, and those are always my favorite. Or like, oh, I don't know if you guys know this show. Have you ever seen Cells at Work?
I love that show.
So in that show, I played naive T-Cell. I don't know if you've seen that, but like, oh yeah. So you have. But I played naive T-Cell, but there was also, do you guys remember the platelets?
Yes.
Oh, well, at first I didn't get to do platelets at first, but then I came back, I did my naive T-Cell episode and that was done, and then they brought me back and I actually got to play, so you know Koidao plays, he plays the cancer cell. I played the baby cancer cell, which is before we started dating, and it's weird. I've played my boyfriend's younger self multiple times, that's weird. But I came in to play the baby cancer cell. Weird thing to say out loud. But they let me be a platelet, and I was so excited. I only had like 2 lines for that, but like the director was like, "You are so much more excited for this than any of your actual characters." I was like, "You don't understand. They're adorable, and this is all I want." Thank you. Do you have any fun stories?
No, it's not as fun as yours. It's not as fun as yours. I do dubbing here in the Philippines. I also love like English stuff, like Spanish telenovelas into like English. And I came in, I told my director, we were chit-chatting, and I said, I've never said the F word before on like a project. And he was like, are you serious? And he had me do walla, and he was like, just throw it in there, it's fine. We're not coming up, but you get to say it. And so I got to do that for that one.
And you got paid.
I paid for that.
That's it, I got paid to swear.
Everyone's dream.
Not wrong.
What about you, Ratana? Because like you look like you had a lot of answers in your head.
Oh, I love getting to improvise in the booth. It is my most fun thing to do. So whenever, so many different wallas where I'm just like talking to myself the whole time. And you don't know it, it's hidden very far underneath, but we're just talking to ourselves and that's all I do, and they pay me for it, and it's kind of cool.
You can create like a whole story, a whole full character in the background of a show.
Oh, they're fighting for it.
Yeah,
Oh, they're all
just-
fighting
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, like
join.
full story arc, journey, beginning, middle, end. And no one will ever hear it. This is amazing.
Oh, there was one time I did like this background for a video game, and it was like, oh, okay, so like it's really intense moment, like we're all running from like the big monster or the tidal wave or whatever the hell is trying to kill the whole city, you know what I mean? And like they're like, okay, this is the sort of thing we need panic and screaming and stuff. And I did like this whole like story where I was like the older sister who's looking for her younger brother, and like, oh, my leg, go on without me, all this shit. And like when we finished the take, because they were like, we need you to just make shit up for like 2.5 minutes. Which sounds like a short amount of time, but it's a really, really
That's
long.
so
Oh yeah, it's a long time.
It's such a long time. So I had this whole epic thing going on, and then when we stopped, they were like, I'm invested in this story, and no one's ever gonna hear it. So like, if you have a great imagination and you like to improvise,
Absolutely.
sometimes the background shit is the most fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
All right, so before we go to our Q&A, just one last question, because I think a lot of people who have like transitioned to voice acting started off and probably are still doing corporate voiceover. That's a thing that like I've been suffering through it for a while. But anyways, the
I
thing
believe
is,
in you, buddy. You got this.
But the thing is, like, what's it like to basically move from like corporate voiceover all the way to like becoming a voice actor altogether?
Corporate voiceover meaning like commercials?
Commercials,
So
like,
I'm just gonna say something right now. Corporate voiceover commercials, that's called paying your rent. That's called paying your mortgage.
Yeah, the paychecks still cash the exact same way.
The US dollars still slap. So I will do commercials all day long. There is no transitioning from one to the other. It's a job to a job to a job. And we're so grateful we get to work because every time we leave the booth, we are unemployed. So
That gave me a crisis when you said that out loud.
It's okay, it's okay.
so
I'm unemployed right now.
I'm unemployed right now. We are all fun employed. So there is no such thing as a transition. It is just part of the game that we play as actors.
Yeah, VO has like so many different like little niche areas that you can make a career, and oftentimes all of us are like doing lots of different pieces of that. One of my regular things is, do you guys have Disney XD, the channel here?
I think we do,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
do.
I think they closed down, didn't they?
Did they? Not in the States. So in the States we have, so there's like Disney Channel and there's Disney XD. So one of my regular things is I'm the voice of Disney XD. So like, I'm the guy who tells you what's coming up next. Yeah.
Can you do it?
Can I do it? I mean, it's literally my regular voice, but just like super high energy because they want like happy big brother, but like,
Wait, here.
oh yeah. I'm gonna need more mics for this. We'll be right back to more Molly McGee on Disney XD.
I want to tune in now.
Yeah. And now back to Molly McGee on Disney XD.
I'm freaking out too. I used to watch that channel. Yeah, I was just gonna add. Yeah, they're right. We all do that stuff still, and it's all acting. It's all voice acting. But I think I can speak to this a little more personally because I'm from here, and a lot of the voiceover work that we do here is not animation and video games. It's mostly the corporate work and the commercials. And so I think one of the problems is a lot of the voice actors here, they don't really know where to look for that work for animation and video games. Fortunately and unfortunately for me, I was chronically online as a teenager. and that's how I found this like whole other site on the internet, specifically on Twitter. And at first it was just like indie stuff, independent stuff, but in the recent years, especially after the pandemic, things really opened, and I got to be a part of things like anime. I actually did like little background characters in the Prince of Tennis for Crunchyroll. I did that. That was like my first like American anime dub. Oh really? Yeah. I mean like.
I can't remember my guy's name.
Oh my
I
god.
played like a Ryoma fan, which is funny because I actually was a Ryoma fan, so that's fun.
I'm one of the balls.
Wait, am I the only one
Do you
not
say
in this?
ba 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 ba
Okay.
ba 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 ba? Thank you.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, corporate commercial work. Yeah, they're right. They pay your rent a lot more because there's a lot more of them coming in. They're always doing that a lot more often. Fortunately in the Philippines, that's the bulk of the work. And a lot of them can be found online on Facebook because we love Facebook in the Philippines. A lot of cast and culture stuff, they're just on Facebook. And I do want to mention this group. It's called VOC Alliance, VOC Alliance community on Facebook. It's a group for local Filipino voice actors. They were created by veteran voice actors, and they usually post a lot of corporate and commercial casting calls there.
Are you writing this down?
That's right, take notes.
Please write this
Take
down.
notes.
Take notes, guys.
Yeah, it's an open group. You can just join and then you'll get access to all that stuff. Occasionally, they do have some animation and games, but very few and far between because we are here.
Is there an official Discord?
They don't have. I don't think they have a Discord.
But there
Okay.
should be. Yet.
But also, because you said this in the other panel, tell them how like you got found for like
For Valorant?
Valorant and all that stuff.
It's crazy. They found me on Twitter.
By searching what?
Filipino voice actor. So I always tell people, you have to put that in like your bio on your socials because you have to be searchable. You know, SEO is very important.
That's so smart. It honestly is like, that's like so simple and so smart.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, they put the Filipino flag like on their bio or on their names, but that's not searchable. So you have to...
Now that he's come
It's Tito Adam now.
Yeah.
That's such a good point though, is I know a lot of us we feel a little bit like lost every once in a while, like, oh, I don't know where to start, what do I do? But oftentimes, the opportunity that you're looking for is also looking for you. You just have to make yourself available to it. And I also want to speak to the fact, as you said, you were talking about doing corporate voiceover, and then you said transitioning into voice acting. You are a voice actor.
Yes.
You are doing the thing. You are a voice actor, you're voice acting. And in fact, that is a very specific and strong skill set, because I can't do commercial for shit. I have not done a single commercial. And it's because I can't crack the code, man. I don't sound like I'm telling the truth.
Stick with me, kid. I got you.
Help me, baby, help me. But like, it's something I'm still working on, and I'm very lucky and fortunate that I've done, different work in a different avenue. But like, there are some things that you're gonna do and you're gonna take off and you're gonna feel really good in, and then there's gonna be other genres that you're gonna do that you're gonna feel like I don't remember how to walk or breathe at the same time.
What am I doing with my hands?
Yeah, what am I doing? I don't know. So it's a really good idea to keep your options open. And like, I know everybody's like, oh, the shiny pie in the sky, I want to do anime, I want to do video games and stuff, but there's other things out there that can make you just as happy, and you may not even know what they are yet. So just keep your options open, and don't shut yourself down or say that, you're not necessarily successful or legitimate just because you haven't done some specific little thing. It's just a thing. You're the part that's important, and what you want is the part that's important.
Honestly, they're making more money than us, probably.
Well, like, one of the things I always say, because like, I used to get really annoyed when I first moved to Los Angeles, like a long time ago. A long time ago. When people would like make fun of someone who was like waiting tables, who was an actor, or like I would see people waiting tables, and then the people that they were helping would be like, "Oh, are you an actor?" Like as like an insult. There is no shame in doing what you have to do in order to do what you love to do. And so if you love to do anime or you love to do animation, there is absolutely zero shame in doing what you have to do. And if that's corporate or whatever it is, or getting another job or having other, some other source of income, there's no shame in that. Like, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take home that paycheck.
Yeah, cash all those checks.
If I may interject. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I don't like make the speakers mad. So, some of you might know, I was a forensic scientist for like 7.5 years. But the whole time I was doing, okay. So the whole time that I was working a day job as a forensic scientist, and I will sidebar this, the only reason I got this job is because I couldn't for the life of me get hired as a waiter or in retail because I had a bachelor's of science degree in biomedical engineering and an MFA in acting, and I was overqualified. Apparently. I know. I just wanted to work in retail. So instead I worked as a biomedical engineer, as a forensic scientist. But the whole time I was acting. I was auditioning for plays. I was doing plays like with rehearsals like 4 nights a week, performances over like 3 weekends. I was doing improv classes, sketch comedy classes. I was on house teams. I was performing multiple days a week while holding down a 9-to-5 job. Same. See, we've all done that, or some version of that, and it's just the amount of time you're willing to put into it. It might not make you as much money as you want right away, but you are learning skills that are going to take you far. This is insane. What am I doing with 4 microphones? Thank you. But yeah, and like everyone's saying, pay your bills. It is the most important thing that you can feed yourself, clothe yourself, and house yourself while you are trying to do the things. It'll take whatever time it takes. Just be patient.
Don't put yourself down for it, dang it.
Yeah.
Including you, Miss, I'm not good at commercials. You can do commercials.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Do commercials.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
So.
Ask another question.
Okay, so yeah, we're good now, because Actually, I want to hand it over to the people here because I'm pretty sure they have a lot of questions here.
Yeah,
So
hands.
you guys can start lining up now, and we only have 4 microphones.
Ready to give up one?
I'm giving up mine.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. You're so thank you.
Sorry, just before we start, please limit your questions to 3-word sentences.
No.
And they have to be an alliteration, so all 3 words have
There
to
she
start
is.
with the same letter. Thank you.
There she is.
You won't understand.
Hi, I'm Erin. Just out of curiosity, since I've been following all of you on Twitter, and you have cons, you have in US, except for but still it applies to all of you. So you have cons in your own countries. So I see that you have a lot of people falling in line. But I'd like to know how different it is from the US, and now you're here in the Philippines doing your booths, and is it overwhelming? How does it feel that you see a lot of people being touched by all your work in voice acting, or not just in Genshin, in all of the fandoms?
Laura and Adam, it's your first time here.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to that experience?
You want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I don't know.
I actually think what's really cool is, in a lot of ways, it's not that different.
Yeah.
And it's cool because we're all so connected, even though we're like, we flew 15 hours to get here. A lot of it feels very familiar, even though it's like new faces and new environment. New currency. New foods.
Yeah.
I'm Filipino now.
Yeah.
No, but it's really amazing. Like we are all so connected, which is really cool. And the bridge that the bridge that fills the gap between us is really not that long, and I think that's really cool.
It is.
Well said.
And yeah, that was cool. I don't know how to follow that.
All right, next question.
Hi, I'm the Adolgar.
Sorry, I was joking. Hold on 1 second. Hold that thought, because I was being a bad boy.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Arwen. I'm actually from last year.
Hi.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, Conquest last year.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was that purple shirted girl.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'm now cosplaying as Adelgard. Sorry, Leonie.
Whatever.
Okay, my question is for Laura, although this is a little out of topic. If you were to go on a date, who would it be with? Kagetsu or male Byleth? If everybody knows who the voice actor of Byleth is, you would get it.
Well, no, the male Byleth is Zach Aguilar. Yeah. Somebody's trying to trick me. Kagetsu all day long, my friend. Are you kidding? Kagetsu's such a sweetie. He's so cute. He'd make onigiri and it'd be so yummy. And he's such a fun little puppy dog. If
After
anybody
all-
has played Fire Emblem Engage.
I unfortunately don't have the game yet, but I do plan to buy it with the DLC.
Ah.
Especially because I'm cosplaying one of the emblems. Thank
see.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paris. It's really nice to meet y'all. Y'all are such talented people, and we're really glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, so my question might be a little bit serious, but I think this is an important question, especially for aspiring artists and artists who are already in the field, especially in terms of talking about what you guys said. Right now, you're quote unquote unemployed. So I think it's important for, especially, I guess you could word it as freelancing, correct? So for freelancing workers and maybe aspiring artists who want to work in the field to become professional, and especially that certain industries can tend to ignore the rights of these artists. What do you think are certain important rights that these artists should know, and why should they stick to them?
trying to understand the question you asked.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I think I'm not quite sure what you mean by rights.
I'm thinking, are you asking like what are some good healthy boundaries that we can set as freelance, or?
Yes, that could also be a thing, but I did also notice, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there are certain movements that are also happening overseas about like certain industries demanding more from their workers, especially in the creative field.
Are you talking about like the writers' strike?
Yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, how do we want to approach that? Ooh, okay.
So
I'm
that's a
sorry
lot of
for the
questions.
heavy.
No,
it's
sorry for the heavy
a
questions.
lot.
There's a lot of things to unpack, and it's a very complicated conversation. But what it boils down to is, as an artist and a creative person, you deserve to be treated like a human being. You deserve for your art to be paid what it is worth on the open market, and you deserve the right to say yes or no for somebody to adulterate your work without your permission. And so there are a lot of other very complicated, legal, smarter people than me are dealing with it right now. But that's kind of what it boils down to. And for you as an emerging artist, for us as artists on this stage, we are constantly fighting that battle because we all want to work. We love getting paid. But where is the boundary between giving away too much and not having enough, and still being able to look yourself in the mirror and pay your bills?
And that's a question that is the answer is a very personal one. And that's something you have to kind of like, sit with for yourself, But I think it's important to know that you have value and your value should be honored.
I think one of the difficulties is lately it sort of feels as though the corporate machine is very much a machine and is hoping to utilize artists in that similar way, in a very impersonal and in like non-human sort of way. And it's difficult in the grand scheme, especially if you're talking about, a desire to someday work with some of those big shiny brands or big shiny everybody wants to be a part of the Marvel universe, everybody wants to be a part of Disney, and like all of those big recognizable names. And sometimes it's easy, especially if you feel like you're just beginning, to want to maybe make some compromises just so that you feel like you can get there. And it takes it's a personal choice. And it really takes a lot of internal reflection as to what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And not only just for yourself, but for your community. The voice acting community is one of the most communicative ones that I've ever been a part of. We all sort of try to talk to each other, either both in a union and outside of the union, to say, okay, so here are some standards that we would like to uphold for all of us to make sure that we're all getting a fair shake, a fair share, and are being treated well. And let's all try to ask for something at that level or better to make sure that all of us will receive that level or better. And a lot of people have a very strong stance on this and feel like, oh, if you accept less, that means that you're hurting yourself and you're hurting the whole community. And while, it's a gray area, at the same time, you need to eat food. You need to live in a place, and you have to make those choices for yourself. So honor yourself, honor your heart, and treat each situation with its own care, because they're all different. Each one is going to be unique. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
And also, remember to gaslight, gatekeep, and girl bomb.
Yes! Slay! Happy Pride, people!
That was really well said. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Introducing myself real quick. My name is Stahl. I actually went to Laura's meet and greet on the first day.
Yeah, hi. Oh, nice. Thanks for coming to ours. Okay.
Yes, lovely. Speaking of girl boss, how does the feminism feel on the table right now? Hello, ladies.
Feels good. Feels good. Honestly, it feels great. I am amongst the elite.
You're all elite today. Actually, this is the first time I knew about, I actually knew about Adam because Anna always talks about you because you're co-workers for Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like, it's amazing, by the way, that you're so close and it's nice to see friends together. And Vanille, I knew you from, and Vanille was so hyped up for Valorant, like that was Pinoy Pride, Philippines mentioned. Philippines mentioned. So yeah, I'm just really happy to see everyone. But on the topic, my question is like, or this is rather the thing I want to talk about because and last year, one of the most touching things I ever heard from you guys last year was like, you mentioned at your own panel with Ratana last year, you haven't been to the Philippines in years, like a decade?
It had been
Over a
20
decade.
years.
Yeah,
20 years.
Not the same.
And it was like literally
Since
a
she was
homecoming. Yeah.
I'm so young, guys.
So yeah, you don't look a day over 30, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so it's
Hang on, there's pesos coming.
It's wonderful to have you back in your home here. So I guess like for everybody here, it's like a general question na lang. Everyone's gonna ask you this. How is it so far in Manila? And would you actually just consider just like taking a tour of the Philippines in general? Because you went to Manila, it's a cityscape. It's a different experience, but it's a beautiful country. I would literally just tell you to just go around. But if you had to go anywhere, right now, someone gave you a free ticket anywhere, where would you want to go in the Philippines? Any ideas?
I'm going to my mom's hometown, and I'm going to visit where my grandma and grandfather met. My Lola and my Lolo. That's where I'm going.
If I had the time, I would totally go visit my parents' hometown. I don't have the time.
I would also go to where my parents are from.
Filipino.
Because I'm Filipino now.
Hashtag Tito Adam.
Yeah. Let's get it trending. Let's get it trending, guys. Make that day 3 of Conquest. Make that the thing.
Somebody gifted me a postcard that they made. They had like a picture of Pagsangan Falls and then put Raiden Shogun at it. And I was like, that's so sweet. I've actually been there. That's one of the few places I have been in my life. I went there when I was like 16. Aww. Well, I just aged myself. I guess like 4 years ago. Thank you. Yeah. And I was like, that's so cool.
I would also go to Jollibee.
That's the embassy, right?
Yes. There are hundreds of branches worldwide and several hundred in the Philippines alone. So good luck.
No,
I'm ready. I'm ready for the tour. Let's go on a Philippine tour of every Jollibee. Give me all of your mango peach pies.
Don't they have a Jollibee truck like outside of the con? Like they did, like on the street.
Oh, see there, bye. She's gone. She's gone.
They say if you eat enough Jollibee, you'll become Filipino in a day. So
I instinctively flipped the table. Like when you got up, I don't know why. I thought we were like about to go fight or something.
So weird.
And I guess for Vanille as well. I would like, as a local as well, like anywhere you want to go?
I still haven't been to Palawan. I've always wanted to go.
I want to go to Palawan.
Yeah.
Voice actor tour of Palawan.
But yeah, I guess that's it for me. I'm really happy again and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hello there, good afternoon. My name is Kelvin and also I'm an aspiring voiceover. And I have a YouTube channel and I have 2 fan-made videos and especially I have a video of All TV News promo blog which the video have 900 views.
Nice.
Congrats.
I want to show you. I want to show the video. Oh, just so.
I don't think we have time
the
for that
projector
right
is
now.
not.
No, it's
for
also
you.
And also the question is, what is the secret of how to be a great voiceover?
What is the secret to being a great voice actor?
Yes, voice actor or voiceover talent.
Sacrifice.
With or without script.
KG Tang would tell you chicken sacrifices.
Yeah.
But the real answer is just, I don't know, I wanted to give everybody equal opportunity.
Mano po.
will never die. No, I think the secret to being a good voice actor is being a good actor.
And I can do impressions of every characters in Genshin, especially Miko and Scaramouche.
That's great. Impressions are fun, and doing
It's a
fun
great way to
voices
learn.
is fun, but...
Are you doing?
But impressions are just one part of it. That's not actually acting. Can you take that voice that you can make an impression of and then imbue it with real emotion, in real action, on the lines, achieving an objective? You know what I mean? I'm using like, you
use my head.
acting.
It's like she has an MFA in acting or something.
I studied Stanislavski, it's fine.
You're a good actress.
When you think about like doing impressions, which is great and very useful and it's a fun tool to have, remember that some of those impressions that you're doing are for jobs that are already filled. A lot of these actors are already doing that job and they're already playing those characters. So while doing impressions is an excellent place to start, it's time to, after you feel like you've got those down, you want to start bending those and start creating your own personal, unique characters. Because the great thing about who you are is that you're unique and you're different from everybody else on the planet. And so there's something that you're
Nobody brings to the table what you can bring to the table.
Exactly. So remember that part, okay? So because that's going to be your edge to move forward. Yeah?
Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Just like Miko said. Ano yun?
Thank you.
Let's give it to the next guy.
Okay.
Hello po.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jean. My question is, any ritual or internalization you do before you start voice acting? Like, here's the mic and you do something before you.
Like did you say ritual?
Yeah, right. Like jumping jacks or
Make a
whatsoever.
sacrifice.
The sacrifice.
Chicken sacrifice.
Like, here's the mic and here's the script. Anything you do before you start firing your lines or whatsoever.
Well, I think like every one of us has something different that we do. You know, I like to make sure I'm a little warmed up. That's like vocalizations. I'm a singer, so like I do my scales, do breathing exercises, tongue twisters, all that stuff. I'll do as much or as little as I have time for before a session, and then just be present and ready to go. That's the key.
Yep. Any unique any unique you do, or aside from the vocalization?
I mean, you just do like scales, like that kind of stuff. Sirens, woo!
I just scream as loud as I can once.
Yeah.
And then he's warm.
Yeah.
Follow-up question on that, because like you now have your pre. What about? Okay, so you talked about your pre. What about the post? Like the aftercare, because that stuff gets intense.
Aftercare for me, after a session, I have to eat. I'm always starving after a voiceover session. I have to eat right before and I have to eat right after.
Six Young Burgers.
No, my stomach will be so loud. What'd you say?
6 Young Burgers.
my stomach will growl so loud when I'm hungry. So I have to eat before, and then afterwards I'm like, if I don't eat right afterwards, I am like a shell of myself. So I have to eat food, and then that's me. Eat, sleep, boba.
It really depends on the session, because sometimes you'll have like a really quick little 15-minute session, which is great, and you just go on with your day, and then sometimes also lunch right after. Or you'll have like a 4-hour super intense session where you were weeping for 3.5 of it, and like you're doing all this crazy stuff, and sometimes you just need to decompress. Maybe you just want to lay down and stare at the wall for a while. You do whatever it is that's going to make the most sense for you. If it is vocally stressful, it is a good idea to warm down. We don't talk about that nearly as much.
Absolutely.
Which can just be as simple as just kind of humming to yourself and letting your vocal cords know that they don't have to be hurt anymore. It's okay. And drink all the water.
Yes.
All of it.
Hydrate.
And boba.
And boba. And 12 Yum Burgers.
Woo!
14 Yum Burgers.
Hello.
I heard 16.
What does it feel like not winning a prize today?
You didn't even tell what's the prize though.
That's true, Adam. You didn't tell them what the prize would have
The
been.
prize would have been every print collection in the Raiden Shogun's table. Signed and autographed.
Wait. So then, Adam, were you going to pay for all that?
Yeah. But you put it down,
You
so.
should have told that.
So.
But all I want is the autograph from Titana herself though.
What's up?
Anyway, magandang umaga sa inyo. Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat, mga Pinibini at Ginoo. I'm also a voice acting on my YouTube channel, Lit Latte, but it's just, for fun regarding to Genshin Impact. Anyway, I have a question and a favor, which is, what are your thoughts or opinions regarding to the artificial intelligence replicating your voices?
I hate them.
Oh yeah, I
Stop
also
putting
heard.
my voice in these
I've also watched your
cloning
video about it.
You guys get one F word, by the way, if you guys want to use it.
Fuck AI voices.
I mean, it's super complicated. I think, again, it goes back to what Ann said. It's a personal choice. If someone came up to me and wanted to pay me like $32 million to use my voice, okay. You can AI the heck out of that thing for $32 million. Sure. I think it comes down to what we were talking about earlier, like fair pay for the artist. Right now, it's just being snuck into things. And
It's being stolen.
yeah, and being used without our permission. So that's the part that's like really hard to wrap our mind around. It's something that's moving so quickly that it's hard to figure out where it's at to know how to adjust and to compensate for it. But ultimately, for me personally, if I'm paid appropriately for the use of my voice print, I would be totally fine doing it. But that's not the case at the current moment.
The problem primarily, at least for myself, with AI has less to do with the technology and far more to do with consent.
Yes.
There's a
Right.
lack of consent.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And not just for voiceover, but for artists as well. It's kind of making me go crazy thinking about how AI is being used so much and so prevalently in the creative space, far more than what we're talking about like in AI in the scientific space, and how it can be used not to remove or get rid of jobs, but to help facilitate those things and help make the world a better place. I don't know, it's a thought. But yeah, it is the consent. It's knowing that I know for a fact, at least most of us, if not all of us, have had our voices placed in AI without our consent.
Yep.
And those people are using those voices. Sometimes they're just making silly little memes, which people feel like is not harmful. But other times, they could be using our voices to say horrible things that we would never, ever want our voices to be used to say. And that's heartbreaking, especially if there's a possibility that it will become something that's so well used that you cannot discern whether it's me or just a computer. I don't want one of you to hear me saying something that makes you feel like I might hate you.
Absolutely.
That breaks my
Absolutely.
heart.
Yeah.
It's not good, you're right.
It's not being used for good. That's
Yeah, and I'm also personally very concerned. I don't know what these companies who have samples of my voice, I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with it.
Exactly. But if there's full transparency and there
control.
more control and strong compensation and letting us know that they're not actively trying to just simply replace and get rid of actors in general, not just ourselves, but the profession of acting as we know it. We would like that to continue on because art is an important part of being a human being, of the human experience. Then we can have a conversation. Yeah.
Not to mention cloning the voices of people who are not with us anymore, who cannot consent anymore. I don't know, I don't even know where to begin about how wrong that could be.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh no, wait. I have a favor.
You got one question, buddy.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just trying to let her borrow this since it's her birthday. Well, LA time.
Can she sit on my lap for a while?
Oh yes, sure. But I'm gonna do something more dramatic, so I'm gonna literally kneeling down in front of the crowd. Is that okay? Glory to the Shogun.
Yeah, take me.
It now belongs to Anne.
It's fine. It's okay, she's sitting with me for a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Security, can you get him out of here? This is Anne's man.
Well, good afternoon.
Can I get you anything? Do you need anything?
She's fine.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is JL, and I've just started a little bit with voice acting myself, but in this panel, I'm just generally like really impressed, and I know like some of your work as well. And my question really has for you guys is when it comes to doing different voices, what advice can you give for being able to train how to do different voices for different characters? Because all your characters, they sound like distinctly different from one another and from your normal speaking voices as well. So I was kind of curious about that.
I think there's lots of ways to do this. For me personally, like I know my own voice. That's always the starting spot. And for me, I'm a very physical actor, so in the booth, I'm either, like, depending on the character, I'm like hunched over or like squatting or sitting or whatever. Like, I'm physically embodying what I'm trying to do. And then within that, you know, there's also like the physical, like where you're placing the voice in your like nose, in your throat, like wherever. So it's just kind of like starting with the baseline of your normal voice and then playing with it from there.
It's a lot of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of play and using your imagination. Like, what do you think this sounds like? Oh, I think a little boy might sound like this. I don't know. You know, it's just again like we're playing. It's like we're 5 years old and we're just making stuff up on the fly. That's all it is, really. Have fun with it.
Absolutely, yeah. Get to know your voice. Like, play with all of the edges of it because you don't know what you're capable of until you try.
I also think too, like if you're not like a classically trained actor or like have taken classes where they've kind of instructed you how to do that stuff. Like for me, when I was a kid, all I would do was watch and imitate. So, you know, that's also a good spot because a bad imitation of somebody is an original character.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, actually, because that's how I formed a lot of my voices now. And to keep track of all the voices that I have, I actually like have names in my head that I assign to them. Usually the names are the characters that they were based on. But then when
That's
that
so
voice
cool.
I use gets attached to a character I play that gets big, then the name changes now. It's the neon voice, the Zeri voice.
So cool. That's awesome.
I love that.
Another thing I would like to just a little thing on top, little cherry on top. Remember, as you're playing and as you're creating these new voices and you're discovering all these wonderful things about your own instrument, to keep it safe, remember that sometimes you're like we were talking about before, if you're doing a session, you may be in that session for up to 4 hours and doing all sorts of things from whispering to screaming to crying to laughing and burping or vomiting, all the kinds of stuff, right? And you have to be able to sustain that. And what if you get to a point where you're doing a 4-hour session and then you do a second 4-hour session in that day, or you're doing several sessions in that day, or what have you? You have to be able to perform the same as you're doing in the morning, all the way to the end of the day, or all the way through the rest of the week. So if you're doing a voice that you can only sustain for 5 minutes without coughing, or without losing the rest of it, without pain, that may not be the voice for you. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is sitting in a comfortable spot. So it's not going to cause you damage and make it so you can't work ever again. Because that's a thing that happens to people. After I played on Beyblade, I'm in Beyblade, by the way. I play Iger Akabane, and yeah, let it rip. But like,
Which is on Disney XD.
it is on Disney XD, so you had to say the name of that. I'm so sorry. Beyblade Burst Turbo, but I'm also in Quad Red. Thank you. And my voice changed by the end of my first season. I did like 50 some odd episodes of this character as the lead character, and all he does is scream for no reason. And and I did it as safely as I possibly could, and I had a really wonderful team behind me to make sure that I was safe. But even so, because of how like really aggressive his voice is, my regular natural speaking tone lowered by the end of that first season. So you just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, to add to that, I did a cartoon, and I had a character who talked like this, and she has a lot of lines, and I had to do a session for like 2 hours, and it's very strenuous because it's like my highest voice, one of the highest voices that I could do. What helped me was I took singing lessons.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
it
helpful.
helped with my breathing. It helped me do proper breathing techniques so I can sustain that strenuous voice for a longer period of time. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Yeah, you can do it!
I think we're on the last 5 minutes or so. Is that what I saw?
Lightning round. I'll try to shut
Okay.
up a little bit more.
Hello, good afternoon. It's my first con, and I'm nervous and excited at the same time.
Welcome, you're doing great.
So my question is, when dubbing the English version of games and shows, how much influence does the voice actors of the original language have in your work on the same character? And how much freedom do voice actors have in deviating from the original translation?
It influences greatly. I mean, that is what we're listening to in order to even just get the timing. So like that's the thing that's in my head when I eventually record my version of the line, you know, like for Jujutsu Kaisen, like Asami Seto, like her performance as Nobara is the bedrock of my performance for Nobara. You know, she's the thing I base it on. I clearly make it my own a little bit, like we're not the same person, but I follow in her footsteps, you know? And it's not that we're like imitating or doing any kind of mimicry, but you know, obviously they did the work, and that's how we know what's going on, and so we use that as our template.
It's like following their lead.
Absolutely. And, you know, with regard to translation, sometimes we have to adapt the text so it makes sense in the English language, but we still stay true to the spirit and the letter of what they were intending.
It also very much depends on the project because, you know, for a lot of anime, we'll hear all of the previews and things. But for some, not all games, but some games, we may not actually receive a preview at all. They may just give us context and say, go for it, good luck. And we have to bring our own sort of sense to it. We have to make our own strong choices. And the director is there to kind of navigate and send us in the right direction. But sometimes we don't get to hear the original performance until, you know, perhaps we play it ourselves or something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
See ya. You did a good job.
Yeah.
Yes, great job.
Alright, hi, my name is Timmy, and I'm a voice actor with Ernest over there. I'm part of a group called Kodatsubu. We are a creatives of voice actors, collaborators, and a lot of hodgepodge stuff. And you have a question. Well, actually, I have a question for you guys. I'm gonna make this quick. So it's about SAG-AFTRA. Like, if you guys are familiar with it. So I wanted to ask, like, is there like any requirements with SAG-AFTRA, or is there any possible way that we could get auditions for big projects without SAG-AFTRA? Because from what I know, SAG-AFTRA is kind of like a requirement for AAA games or big companies and all that.
Yeah, I think Vanille can answer.
Yeah, so SAG-AFTRA is the union for actors in the United States, for those who didn't know. And I actually have a friend who is not from the United States. Her name is Suling Chan. She is from Malaysia. And she was actually able to work jobs from SAG-AFTRA through her agent. And so it is possible. But from her personal experience that she shared with me, it seems that not every client knows that. Like, they don't understand that the process is just this easy, and there's this education needed on that side a little bit. But the bottom line is, it is possible.
Thank you.
So I think we're time out now, or are you guys willing to lightning round?
Sorry, it's
Okay.
at the top of
Quick
the...
question and one answer each.
Yes.
Okay, but quick
Actually, it's a question for everyone. Hi, my name is RJ, and happy birthday. My question is simple. May I get a quick selfie? That's it.
After.
Okay.
Hey, can you do that after?
Sige, sure. Is it okay if I do it now? Just a quick one.
After.
Okay, sure.
After.
Thank you, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, next question.
quickly.
This is quickly a yes or no question. For those who voice over for Valorant and Genshin, vice versa, are you willing to voice over for Genshin, or are you willing to voice for Valorant? Either of the two.
If
Yeah,
you're
since
gonna-
I'm in,
yeah,
since
the
I'm in
answer is
both,
yes.
yes, yes. Thank you. Next question.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, first of all, hi Iris. And I just wanted to ask, have you ever been nervous for a role that you've had before?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, I'm never not nervous.
I got nervous for a role that I didn't even speak in.
Sometimes I'm shaking before a session.
I'm actively nervous right now.
I'm peeing.
Violet ever got a cosplay? I love it.
All right, last question.
Hello. Hi, my name's Carlo. I met you on day one, and hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
My only real question is, for all of you, like, like, is there like, I'm making the question up on the spot. Would you ever like, oh God, I'm blanking.
It's okay, you're doing great. Take a breath. Would we ever? We're right here with you.
Yeah, you.
Hi, Vanille. Just wanted to ask, in regards to being a Filipino actor, how is it like trying to break into the global West? There, thank you. I mean, global North. There you go.
Hard.
Great question, sir.
Okay, really quick. I thought it was impossible when I was younger. When I was starting to I thought it was impossible, but I guess it's actually possible. And I am very grateful for that. The pandemic was super freaking horrible, but one of the great things, very few great things that happened was that studios realized they can hire actors from basically anywhere, and that benefited me, I guess, in that way. And yeah, now it's possible. So.
A big hand for everyone.